A black woman's attempt to get rid of her old mother-in-law leads to an unexpected secret. Jasmine felt a knot twisting in her stomach as her mother-in-law, Ruth, bustled into the living room like a storm. The faint scent of mothballs clung to Ruth's oversized cardigan, clashing with the fresh lilac candle Jasmine had just lit. This was the third time that week Ruth had shown up uninvited, her wide-brimmed hat making her look almost comically regal as it bobbed around the small, cozy space. Jasmine had hoped to enjoy a rare evening with her husband, but it seemed clear that Ruth had other plans. Every time Ruth settled in, her presence cast a shadow. The walls seemed to close in, the air thick with unspoken judgments and swirling anxieties. Ruth's advice, always suffocatingly polite, felt like shackles wrapped tight around Jasmine's ambitions. The walls of their suburban home echoed with memories of a failed career and the constant crunch of deadlines at her demanding job. "I know better than you," Ruth's eyes seemed to say, and Jasmine's heart sank further. "Dear, have you thought about looking at some lovely senior communities? They have such nice activities," Ruth chirped, her voice dripping with sugary sweetness that masked a hint of sharpness. Jasmine's hands trembled slightly against the soft fabric of her skirt, as an idea sparked in her mind. What if nudging Ruth toward a more suitable living situation could not only grant her the freedom she craved, but also win her husband's appreciation? Days turned into weeks of planning. Jasmine started dropping casual hints at dinners, letting Ruth talk herself into the idea of a community where she could find peers and comfort. "You deserve to be around people your age," she'd say, feigning enthusiasm. Ruth always nodded, a small glimmer of confusion flashing in her eyes. But Jasmine couldn't shake the guilt creeping in, tightening her chest. One evening, rummaging through her husband's attic, Jasmine stumbled across a dusty box. Inside was a collection of yellowed letters, their rough edges whispering ancient secrets. Curiosity burned brighter than the flickering attic light above her. As she read, her breath quickened. The letters unfolded a story of betrayal, love, and a family tangled in a web of deceit. A name shimmered like a haunting specter. Ruth had not always been who Jasmine thought she was. Shock coursed through their veins, the blood pounding in her ears as she pieced together the family saga that had been cloaked in silence for decades. Every revelation chipped away at the foundation of her marriage, a fissure that threatened to widen with each new truth. She glanced back at the looming box, realizing the risk it posed to her sanity and her relationship with her husband. What was happening? The truths swirling around her mind began to feel like a noose tentando-se. Jasmine sabia que tinha que confrontar Ruth para entender o segredo barato. Na boca da mente estavam as perguntas: será que a verdade deve valer a pena do preço da lealdade familiar? Com medo mando em estômago e determinação acender fogo no seu coração, Jasmine tomou uma respiração profunda. Hey, antes de continuar com essa história, I have to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has deleted their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed
to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content. Des, while you're there, leave that mighty like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know all the amazing people who are part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. With dread pooling in her stomach and determination lighting a fire in her heart, Jasmine took a deep breath. The cliff's edge was calling. Then, the door swung open with a bang. Jasmine jumped, heart racing, as her husband Marcus strolled in. His face, usually so warm, was pale. He held something, crumpled paper,
like it was a wounded bird. Jasmine? He hesitated, looking between her and the box. You need to see this. Panic surged through her. Had he found the letters? Her mind raced, her breath quickening. What is it? He dropped the crumpled paper on the coffee table. The air between them thickened like molasses. She leaned closer, her fingers trembling as they brushed against the faded newsprint. The headline screamed back at her. Mysterious woman found dead. Investigadores cercando por conexões. Não foi nada mais do que essa história. Era sobre Ruth. Mãe, sussurrou o braço caputado. Marcos apontou para uma foto. O nome da Ruth estava lá, mas não estava mais só dela, e ela era também. Linktou a mulher que parecia exatamente a ela. A Jasmine gorou o peito, confundida com ele. A voz dele perrecunda, confusamente enturbulhada no peito. A enormia daquilo que ela estava absorvendo era sufocante. Eles investigaram o passado de Ruth, identificando-a. Suddenly, o mundo foi endesariado. Evelyn, que ela tinha conhecido, o conselho, as críticas, a presença nada. Agora, o Roy estava vivendo uma vida dupla. Como se em Raina, a casa se arreboou altamente. Barulho forte e interrupto. Jasmine escutou o olhar dela. Marcus, fear creeping up her spine. Who could it be? Don't answer it. Marcus's voice was firm, but his expression was uncertain. Yet curiosity clawed at Jasmine, pulling her toward the door like a magnet. Before she could change her mind, she unlatched the door, revealing a stranger. A young woman stood on the porch, drenched in rain, hair plastered to her pale face. I need to talk to Ruth, she said breathlessly, her eyes wide and desperate. Jasmine's heart raced. Who are you? The woman's lips trembled. Between gasps, she blurted, I'm her daughter. Jasmine's breath hitched. What do you mean? She doesn't have a daughter. The woman took a step closer, the dim light illuminating her frightened expression. I'm not lying. I was adopted. She gave me up, but I found her. And now I think she's in danger. The sky outside rumbled, as if to echo Jasmine's inner turmoil. Everything felt like it was crashing down. Ruth, her mother-in-law, a possible killer's target, a mother to another child. None of it made sense, but a chilling thought wormed its way into her mind. Had this been Ruth's secret all along? Each revelation felt like a punch to the gut, leaving her gasping for air. As the door swung wider, the weight of the unknown pushed hard against her. Connections spun like webs, each thread tighter than the last. Who was the real Ruth? And what peril awaited them all? Jasmine's mind raced. A storm was brewing, and she was caught right in the eye of it. What would happen when the truth finally unraveled? Jasmine's heart raced, caught in a whirlwind of emotions as the young woman stood before her, drenched and wide-eyed, spilling secrets like an overflowing fountain. I'm her daughter. The words echoed in Jasmine's mind, reverberating painfully. How could this be? How had she never known? The rain lashed outside, the storm outside mirroring the chaos in her chest. This revelation had come out of nowhere, shaking her reality to its core. Ruth gave you up? Jasmine's voice trembled. A mix of disbelief and curiosity clawing at her from within. Yes! The woman's face paled as she stepped deeper into the house, the urgency palpable. It's true. I thought finding her was just about knowing my past, but now... She broke off, eyes darting toward the hallway. I think she's in real danger. A shiver ran down Jasmine's spine. The implications settled like stones in her stomach. Who was this woman? What kind of danger was her mother-in-law really in? Why now? Jasmine pressed, desperate for answers. Why come here? I tracked her down after all these years because I found something. The woman hesitated, glancing at the crumpled newspaper in Marcus's hands. I didn't just. Como porque eu queria conhecê-la. Acho que alguém lá está querendo matar ela. E é conectado ao meu passado. Jasmine disse, sua voz velando.
pânico disparando com terdeira a boca de eletricidade. Da película tá maior do que Ruth. Dei de céu, foi envolvida com pessoas perigosas. Pessoas que conheceram Ruth e nós próximos. Dei disseram Ruth. O fundo instável abaixo de Jasmine, verdade crescendo cada vez pior. Mapa sendo peso, gritou Intinho. A paz da proteção.
Kicking in, but the woman shook a head, determinação et na sua fitura. I can't leave. Não, não agora. Quando eu encontrei as cartas me perpassei que o que aconteceu com minha mãe nascida e que Ruth tem escondido. Eu tenho que protegê-la. De repente a casa inteira cheia de cadeira na porta traseira. O que aconteceu? O que foi isso? Ela gritava, o guarda-chuva de Marcos, onde a própria máscara medo impõe. Antes de Marcos poder responder, the lights flickered and went out, plunging the room into darkness. Jasmine gasped, the air thick with tension. The shadows felt alive, gripping at her throat. Panic rose as they fumbled for their phones, iluminando em ansiosos deles inglare. Para casa, o tombão roi pantuando a felicidade do correção. Uma voz densa, longa de cafa hipóteses e urno sanguíneo. Aos olhos também ultrapassaram. Quais seriam tudo o que podia ter se passado e aprecisos? Cada passo ficou como fim novo na frente. Jasmine flicou o fone deligada. A porta pontuando assim candeia de essa forma, ameaçando eles prestes depois. Fica embaixo. Of Jasmine e a esposa. Eles entraram à porta de bedadeira. Um sentimento de perigo desagarrompeu. E depois, uma figura deu para trás dos perucas. O olharam com o palpável. O terror correndo o coração. Era Ruth, mas ela parecia um pouco diferente. Olhos descelestados. Fregamenta. Um faco. E ela gritou com sua voz frática. As expectativas do terror dela. Célias. Descem. Preciosa. Pelim. Identificativa. O que está acontecendo, Ruth? O olhar dela ficou pelos três de nós. Fega misturado com desse. O peso das palavras. Jasmine. Heart raced, piecing together snippets of the truth she had discovered. Who are they, Ruth? What are you hiding? The house trembled again, this time with a sense of impending doom. In that moment, everything felt like it was spiraling. The storm outside roared louder, a deadly echo of the turmoil within. The knife glinted ominously, casting shadows as dark as the secrets surrounding them. What had really been hidden all these years? And more importantly, who were they? Darkness loomed over the trio, thickening with every unanswered question. Jasmine's breath quickened with dread, knowing they were all in this together now, and the truth was bound to surface, leaving devastation in its wake. The house tremeu à noite, shadows gritando como serpentes em volta deles. O coração de Jasmine torrendo em seu corpo, se abrindo na razão. Ruth clutchou faca, Soares corribando com pensas, Deusan empurrando tensão bral com tempor. Protege-nos de quê? Jasmine murmurou. Serpentes mutendo a língua. De frente para ela, mas se unindo nas almas. Fists clenchas. A question boboando, forçando para sair. Por que ela estava tão terrível? Quem ameaçava a família nesse cocum suburbano? Yau, voz cascada, a desesperação clamou ela fora. Need you to trust me. But could Jasmine trust her? All these years, there had been whispers of secrets unspoken. Truths buried deep beneath smiles in family photos. What had Ruth really hidden? Suddenly, there was a scuffle outside. The door burst open, slamming against the wall. In stormed a man, tall and shadowy, with piercing eyes that cut through the darkness like daggers. He held a cell phone lit up with blue light, and anger radiated from him. You shouldn't have done this. Ruth, he barked, voice like thunder. Jasmine's breath caught. Who was he? An intruder? Who are you? She demanded, raw fear igniting her tone. I'm someone who knows more than you think, he replied, voice low, almost a growl. He turned his gaze toward Ruth, accusing. You can't keep running. You can't stop what's about to happen. Ruth's face paled, recognition flickering in her eyes. No, please, not now. I didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for what? Jasmine's heart raced, each question a bolt of electricity. The room felt too small, like a cage closing in. All at once, Ruth's facade crumbled, tears spilling as her shoulders hunched in surrender. I'm so sorry, Jasmine. I was never meant to be this person to you. The knife slipped from her hand, clattering to the floor, a final act of desperation. What did she mean, Jasmine's mind
Spun, struggling to catch up. What do you mean never meant to be this person? She asked, confusion tightening around her throat. The man stepped closer, eyes blazing with intensity. You don't understand, do you? Ruth isn't who you think she is. He paused, a smirk curling his lips, reveling in the chaos he was stirring. She's not just your mother-in-law. She's been living under an alias for years. The room froze. The word alias echoed like a siren in Jasmine's mind. What do you mean? She whispered, heart thundering. She was part of something dangerous, something we thought she had left behind. But it's back. Ruth's past is coming for her, and for you too. World tilted. Jasmine felt the ground shift beneath her feet. A maelstrom of betrayal and panic spun around her. The walls pressed in like a vice, and a horrific realization dawned. Ruth, her family, everything was built on lies. Who am I really married to? Jasmine gasped, turning to Marcus, whose face was a mixture of shock and disbelief. Is she lying about everything? But before he could respond, the lights flickered back on, illuminating Ruth's anguished face. The man smirked as a loud crash came from outside, followed by a strangled scream. What was that? Marcus shouted, panic flaring in his eyes. They're here, Ruth breathed, her voice barely above a whisper. I should have told you everything, but I was afraid. The reality spun, leaving Jasmine's heart racing. This wasn't just about her mother-in-law's safety anymore. Something darker was lurking, ready to pounce, and she was right in its path. What had Ruth truly been hiding? And how deep did the lies run? As the fear settled around them, one question rang clear. How far would they have to go to uncover the truth? The room held its breath, the shadows twisting like snakes as Ruth's panic collided with the newcomer's cold gaze. Jasmine's heart thudded like a war drum against her ribs. What do you mean? She's not who I think she is, she demanded, the tremor in her voice. Betraindo a sofrer. Marcos esteve cerca de perto, a seu instinto protetor silencia. Foi então, o que você quer da minha família? Depois vê se diz grito. Fechou a boca, confidente bem assim. Você é peça de jogo muito maior. Está certo, Ruth? Você não pode se esconder sempre. Com a indagonia da Melis. Ele perguntou. E aí, que você quer da minha família? The knife lay forgotten on the floor, but Ruth's hands shook as she grappled with her emotions. Then the lights flickered again, this time plunging the room into darkness once more. An ominous omen hanging in the air. Jasmine felt a spike of terror as unseen forces pressed in around them. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the basement, followed by muffled voices. Stay here, Marcus shouted, turning to rush toward the noise. But Jasmine grabbed his arm. What if it's dangerous? Before he could respond, the front door burst open. A man, disheveled and breathing heavily, staggered into the living room. Rain soaked him to the bone. Ruth, you have to listen to me, he yelled. Desperation etched on his face. Jasmine's confusion deepened. Who are you? She shouted, panic spilling over. She had no idea who this new person was, or what kind of threat. Hidbro. O man ignorou ela,
quando ele bateu. Temos que ir para o agora. Retsei para Ruth. O espanto pela enorme e pelo encanto. Não pode encher, humano. Não pode encher. Tenho sem pena. O espanto pela enorme e pelo encanto. Não pode encher. I didn't want to drag you all into this, she screamed. I thought I could protect you. The man turned to Jasmine, recognition flickering in his eyes. You don't understand. Your lives are all at stake. She was never just
A mother-in-law. She was involved in something terrible. The storm outside rumbled ominously. Ruth's voice cracked as she turned to address Jasmine, her desperation raw. I didn't choose this life. I wanted to leave it behind, but they won't let me go. What life, Ruth? Jasmine shouted, confusion and anger swirling within her. What have you been hiding? Before Ruth could answer, a jarring sound came from the basement. Another crash, followed by a low growl. They're here. The new man yelled, eyes wide with terror. Staggering backward, the reality of her mother-in-law's life imploded. Jasmine's stomach turned as panic clawed at her. What does this all mean? Why now? You're tied to this too, don't you see? Ruth cried, desespero transbordando dela. Você faz parte de uma família que eu tentei proteger do meu passado, um passado que quer nos destruir. De repente as luzes piscaram de volta, iluminando uma cena de caos. A figura do porão emergiu. Era uma mulher, machucada e ferida, olhos arregalados de medo. Jasmine arfou, a verdade caindo como uma onda. Mãe, ela gritou, percebendo que era sua própria mãe biológica. Como? Como? O olhar da mulher saltou para Ruth. Hurt e anger mingling together. You thought I wouldn't find you? She shouted, a raw edge in her voice. You dragged us all into this. Jasmine's mind reeled as the truth shattered her world. Ruth was not just hiding secrets. She was at the center of a storm that now threatened her whole family. Mom, Jasmine pleaded, feeling the earth shift underneath her. What is happening? A shared tension electrified the room, binding them in this moment. A dark revelation settled in, one that shifted everything she thought she knew. How deep did these ties go? Was anyone truly safe? As the storm outside unleashed its fury, the shadows pressed in tighter, leaving Jasmine feeling more trapped than ever. What other secrets lay dormant, waiting to explode? What new truths awaited? Jasmine's breath fell into a shallow rhythm, each labored inhale mixing with despair and disbelief. Mom, she cried, still struggling to process. The whirlwind of revelations. What have you been hiding? Why are you here? The woman's eyes, wide with urgency, darted toward Ruth, then back to Jasmine. There's so much you don't understand, she gasped, voice trembling like autumn leaves caught in a storm. Ruth isn't just hiding from her past. She's running from the identities of us both. Jasmine felt the world rip apart at the seams. An identity? Ruth? Her mother-in-law? Rugged memories swirled like dark clouds. What do you mean? Before the woman could answer, an eerie silence enveloped the room. Thunder rolled outside, but inside, it was pure stillness. Jasmine's heart raced. What's happening? The man, still lurking in the corner, tensed. You have to listen now. They found you. Suddenly, the lights flickered violently and a loud crash rattled the basement door. The young woman turned, eyes wide, as shadows danced wildly, filling the corners of the room. Not here, Ruth screamed, her voice cracking. But before Jasmine could ask what she meant, everything changed in an instant. The basement door burst open. Like a scene from a horror movie, a tall figure emerged, cloaked in darkness, eyes gleaming like a predator, searching for prey. Ruth, you thought you could hide? Who are you? Jasmine's voice squeaked, her entire body recoiling. Stay back. They're here, the man interjected sharply, panic cutting through his bravado. He stepped in front of Jasmine e Marcus, ready to defend.
Batloco da Kusur, curvou de jeito sinistro.
Ike, será que é o seu?
Sem desperta, lançou para trás,
Derrubando Ruth.
A sala espuntou em desavio.
onde apenas se deteve.
Ruth se colapsou pelo chão, agangando sua cabeça, o que parece perder.
Não, por favor.
Olhos pedindo para seguir a ver.
Depois veio o momento mais chocante de todos.
A meio às gritas e repreensões desesperadas, a figura encurvada.
Jasmine leaned closer, confused, and then gasped. The mirror reflected more than just Ruth's face. It warped into something unrecognizable, revealing a younger version of Ruth, but mixed with another presence. Could it be the younger version of the woman who claimed to be her birth mother?
Mom, what is that?
Jasmine gasped, clutching her chest, feeling faint. The truth, Ruth screamed, her voice filled with anguish. You need to understand who you really are. Then the realization hit Jasmine, harder than a freight train. No, it can't be. This is a lie, she shouted, confusion spiraling out of control. Ruth is not just your mother-in-law, the man shouted over the uproar. She's your mother, and your lives have been connected by dark threads you never wanted to unravel. Shock turned into swirling horror as emotions crashed against one another. Everything had shifted. Beneath the chaos, Jasmine felt the ground disappear from under her. Could it be true? Was her whole life a fabrication? The young woman turned to Jasmine, tears in her eyes. You are my sister. The house seemed to shudder. The walls, once a nurturing shelter, felt like a tomb of secrets. Jasmine's muscles tightened, her breath hitching at the stark reality crashing around her. This isn't over. The cloaked figure threatened, a shadow looming over Ruth. You'll have to face your past, or you'll all pay the price, and I'll be waiting. With that, he vanished back into the shadows, leaving behind a trail of stunned silence. The air felt electric, heavy with the weight of unknown consequences. Jasmine's heart raced as her world crumbled. Her family, her life, all built on a foundation of lies and secrets. She couldn't breathe. The truth was more horrifying than any nightmare. She was intertwined with a legacy of danger. And suddenly, a new reality dawned on her. Escaparia ceder e mais difícil. A tempestade, a saída. Sentiu o silêncio. O eco da pergunta foi soado pela escuridão, Jasmine. How? Feito chalo ritmo, a oeste do passado atropelado, a se arrepiou. O silêncio, dombrado, o espaço pontuado pelo tempo estranho da fé do vesto começa. Para lá assombrar a Gênesis. Acreditava plenamente desquinronada rapidamente. O homem teme até morrer. A verdade saiu de seus lábios, como lembram. All these anos. A voz tremia. Por um momento, Jasmine viu um tor de vulnerabilidade. Mas deste momento, a porta do banho se abriu com um grito, atacando a parede. Estartulados, eles tornaram para ver. A figa emergiu na Dorne. Era um homem grande. Ele procurava louco, os olhos ensaiados. Seu cabelo antigo, chover a margem na sua cara, como uma máscara. Ruth! Ele gritou, voz rouca e franca. Você tem que ir comigo! A sala fechou. Todos estavam parados. O que você está aqui? Ruth gritou, o rosto vi. Ele pesou perto, por não se dar conta. They know I'm here. They know they are coming for you. Ele olhou e se achou para os outros. Seu olhar iniciava na Jasmine. And they'll come for her too. Who is they? Jasmine demandou, o coração revolto. Ela estava drenando em confusão. O seu pensamento rápido, realizando-se diante do relato. Understood were crumbling into dust. The man's eyes darted around, panic spreading like wildfire. The organization, they're ruthless. They won't stop until they have you. Ruth's eyes widened in horror. No, I didn't want this for you. I thought I could keep you both safe." "What do you mean?" Jasmine asked, fury boiling over and confusion thick as fog. She felt the ground shift beneath her feet. "What's happening?" Before Ruth could respond, the sound of sirens echoed from outside. Pifsim silêncio como dago. O olhar da Ruth mostrava valores. "Estão aqui!" ela gritou. Num instante, o caos eruptou. O homem langeu para Ruth, tentando te levá-la para a porta. "We have to run. Now." But Ruth hesitated, frozen in place, her gaze flicking back to Jasmine. "Please, you can't. You don't understand what's at stake." The basement door rattled violently, as if something outside was trying to break in. The air thickened, a palpable sense of doom hanging over them. Suddenly, the power surged back, casting a harsh light over the room. In the bright glow, everyone's faces were a canvas of shock and fear. That's when Jasmine noticed something glinting near the edge of the space. An envelope, pristine and white, that had slipped out from under the table during the commotion. Curiosity gripped her. As she reached down to grab it, the room erupted into
Chaos again. Do clouto figuro retornou à pequena cômoda da sala, mas dessa vez não estava sozinho. Outras figuras e abriram para a porta atrás dele. Vistos tortuados de arva, armas grilhando menacente. O ar sentiu elétrico. Em frame de tensão e incerteza, Jasmines ficaram alegria, seu coração roçando. Ela podia sentir o peso do que havia dentro. Quando abriu, as palavras Messi entoaram. O papel continha um cor negro. Mas lá no topo, em bold letras, havia um nome que ela nunca esperava ver. A sua própria. Antes de processar, as figuras fecharam. Seus olhos estavam travando a diária.
Iluminarem a desalma. Dessa aqui!
Uma borrou, direcionando para Jasmine.
Da realidade surgiu, tão forte que ela pôde sobreviver.
Strangers. Just as she thought they might escape, the cloaked figure stepped forward, a dangerous grin cutting across his face. "Congratulations, Jasmine. Welcome to your new reality." And with that, the shadows closed in, the truth hanging heavily in the air, leaving her breathless and questioning everything she thought she knew. Jasmine felt the room close in around her. The figure loomed closer, his smirk somehow darker in the sudden surge of light. "Congratulations, Jasmine. Welcome to your new reality." Those words echoed ominously, wrapping around her like a shroud. Panic rose as the urgency thickened. Marcus held her tighter, eyes darting. The cloaked figure stepped forward. "You're part of something far bigger than you know."
But before any more could spill from the dark stranger's lips, a deafening crash shook the walls. The front window shattered, raining glass into the living room like confetti from a twisted celebration. A group of armed figures burst through, blustered and yelling. "Get down!" they shouted, all chaos erupting around them. Jasmine dove for cover behind the coffee table, heart pounding a wild rhythm, the sound of her breath drowned out by the clamor. The cloaked figure disappeared into the fray, slipping like a wisp of smoke. Meanwhile, Ruth grabbed the young woman, pulling her protectively to her side. "Run, Jasmine, go!" Ruth screamed, her voice cracking like thunder, propelled by fear. The young woman e Ruth estambou-se atrás da porta, mas nesse momento de movimento fraco, Jasmine percebeu o caos. Homens armados, Ruda, Marcos, que se firmava, tentando escondê-la. "Fiquem atrás!" gritou de forma defiante, adrenalina surgindo, e seu corpo bloqueava um fogo de caos. Não conseguiu manter o coração de Jasmine surgindo com medo. À medida do caos, Jasmine se passou com os olhos da mão apertada nas mãos arrebatadas.
Ela abriu de novo as palavras embaçadas de energia e dentro da reze, mais nomes estavam escritos, nomes encontrados. O sangue batia frio. Ali, em pontas altas, era preto, olhos, flicando a letra e ele. Como podia ser? Ele estava envolvido em tudo isso? A realização te colhe dentro de uma goteira. Como sentindo seu choque, Marcos apanhou a luz, e o rosto mudava de determinação para confusão. O que está fazendo? Gritou em cima do caos. Antes de poder processar, um dos personagens armados lançou para Ruth. Você está incômoda, chapa. Precisamos dela. Não, Jasmine criou. Chorando pantera. Seriam atacar as pessoas que ela amava. Super todo, a figura colou. Mas agora a Ruth é firme, garrando uma arma, dentro do seu bolso.
Small device, a sleek black button. Enough of this, he shouted, and as he pressed it, a hum filled the air. All at once, the ground beneath them trembled violently. The walls shook and the lights flickered ominously, shattering the precarious calm. Jasmine stumbled back, nearly losing her balance as everything around her groaned. Then it happened. A deafening explosion roared from the basement, sending debris flying, like a beast unleashed from deep below. The air filled with dust and dislocation. Jasmine squinted against the dust, grasping for clarity. The chaos shifted, but then froze as she saw it. From the shadowy integrity of the basement door, something began to emerge. A figure. No, two figures. They stepped tremulously into the lighting, and Jasmine's heart seized. She couldn't believe her eyes. Her birth mother was there, and next to her stood an older woman who looked just like her. It's time to take back what's ours, the older woman declared, voice icy as the night air, eyes glinting with resolve. Jasmine's heart dropped into her stomach as recognition flooded over her. The woman wasn't just a look-alike. She was part of this intricate web, her family entangled in ways she never understood. Who are you? Jasmine's voice trembled, shattering the chaos with chilling clarity. I'm your real mother, the older woman said, a haunting calm cutting through the storm. Time stood. The older woman stood before her, claiming to be her real mother. How could this be? Everything she thought she knew felt like a flimsy veil, ready to tear apart. The room was a whirlwind of chaos. The armed figures pushed forward, demanding answers, while Marcus stood protectively in front of her, eyes blazing with defiance. Ruth's expression was a mixture of anguish and fierce determination. Why didn't you tell me? Jasmine's voice broke, filled with hurt and confusion. What happened to my real mother? What are you hiding? The older woman took a tentative step forward, tears brimming in her eyes. I wanted to protect you, Jasmine. I thought if I stayed away. Suddenly, the window shattered again, this time from a flurry of bullets. Glass exploded around them, showering the room in sparkling shards. Jasmine screamed, diving for cover behind the coffee table, breathless with fear. Get down, Marcus shouted as he pulled Jasmine closer, shielding ele com eles o pá. A sala se morde de sangue, shoutos mesculando com o som de ganas. Uma sinfonia de pânico e de desesperação. Ruth, a figura armada gritou, a boca de raiva. Você não pode escapar de nós. A face dela acostumou apertar para o móvel. É quando Jasmine se deu conta do enrolado em seu guarda. Abrindo a mão agora, foi chocada de ver outros nomes. Nomes dos homens armados. Marcado com desafios delicados. Jasmine, dê-me isso! Marcos gritou, mas se bateu nele o tempo todo. A realidade o apanhou como um tapa fria. Eles estavam todos conectados. O passado não era apenas ruim. Era chasing each of them. Sweat dripped down Jasmine's back as she caught glimpses of the struggle around her.
the armed men closing in on Ruth, desperate to drag her back. Then, without warning, the basement door swung open wider. A shadowy figure stepped through and froze the room. It was the cloaked man, but he was different. He raised his hands and called out, voice echoing through the chaos, "Stop!" All eyes turned toward him. He looked between the armed men and Ruth, as if he held all the cards. "Let her go. You'll get what you want if you do." The tension hung thick as fog, every muscle taut as silk. The leader of the armed men narrowed his eyes, suspicion flickering across his face. "Why should we trust you?" "Because I know what she did. I know the truth she's been hiding, and it will ruin her completely," the cloaked man replied, voice low and dangerous. Jasmine's stomach dropped. What could possibly be worse than everything already laid bare? Suddenly the older woman gasped and stepped back, grabbing a mirror that had fallen against the wall. "No, not that," she shouted. But it was too late. The man took it from her hands. The cloaked figure smiled, holding it high. "You think you're the only one with secrets? This mirror holds everything." He slammed it down against the
floor, shattering it into 1,000 shards. A blinding flash exploded, and everyone shielded their eyes.
When the light dimmed, everything had changed. Jasmine blinked, trying to adjust. The room was different. No longer her living room, but a mirrored void. Infinite reflections clawing at reality. When the reflections cleared, there stood a woman, identical to the older woman, radiating a cold confidence. "Surprise!" she announced with a wicked smile. "Welcome to the real show." Heart pounds. Jasmine staggered back. "What have you done?" she screamed, choking on disbelief. The cloaked man laughed. "You thought Ruth was your mother? Just a pawn in this game. The real power is here, and it's about to begin." Jasmine's world shattered anew. The darkness beneath it all peeled back to reveal that their lives had intertwined in catastrophic ways. Was everyone she loved nothing but a part of this twisted play? As the truth twisted and writhed like a serpent, she fell deeper into confusion. What kind of game were they part of? What was coming next? The room shifted again, as if reality itself was struggling to pull itself into focus. Jasmine, heart racing, watched as the older woman, the one who claimed to be her real mother, stepped forward, eyes shimmering with pain and resolve. "I didn't want this for you," she said, her voice breaking. "I wanted to keep you safe. All these."
"Yes." The chaos around them blurred into white noise. Jasmine focused solely on the woman's trembling hands, the fear radiating off her like heat. "Safe from what?" Jasmine croaked, her throat dry as sandpaper. "What is your connection to all this?" Before the woman could answer, the cloaked figure laughed, a mocking sound that sent shivers down Jasmine's spine. "This family is nothing but a web of lies. And now, it's time for the truth to cut through the chaos." His gaze flickered over Marcus, Ruth, and the armed men. "And you won't like what you find." Suddenly, the older woman stepped between Jasmine and the figure, a protective instinct rising inside her. "You have no idea what you're dealing with. Let me show you." Before anyone could react, she grabbed the shattered mirror and held it in front of the cloaked figure. "This is what you've unleashed," she cried, "and you will pay the price." The room erupted in light with a deafening crack, blinding them all. Jasmine pressed her hands over her ears, shockwaves rolling through her body. When the light faded, the cloaked figure was down on the ground, his eyes wide in disbelief. He clutched at his chest, gasping as shadows twisted around him. Ruth fell to her knees, her breath escaping in quick gasps. "What just happened?" she whispered, confusion knitting her brow. Jasmine stood still, heart pounding wildly. "Is he finished?" the older woman interjected,
stepping forward confidently. We've broken the hold he had over us. Now, we can finally be free. But freedom came at a cost. The armed men, visibly shaken, stepped back, uncertainty rippling in their ranks. Their leader, a hard-faced man, barked, "What did you do?" "Only what we had to," the older woman replied, a fierce glimmer in her eyes. "I was never supposed to be a pawn in this game. We're reclaiming our lives." Jasmine felt the weight lift slightly, but icy fear still settled in her gut. "And what about us? What happens now?" She looked around for Marcus, who was standing next to her, fists clenched. His look of fierce determination grounded her. "It's not over," he said firmly, eyes darting to the figures still standing, ready to strike again. "We need to stick together." In the brief pause that followed, an understanding deepened, a bond forged in fear, but tempered with love. Jasmine reached for Ruth and the older woman, feeling their warmth against the cold dread. "Together then," she said, locking eyes with each of them. But just as the atmosphere began to settle, the sound of sirens grew louder outside, the wails approaching like wolves closing in on their prey. "They won't give up easily," the man from the back warned, his face grim. Ruth looked at Jasmine, a mix of fear and love flooding her features. "We can't let them take us again. We can't let our past define our future." "Then we fight," Jasmine declared, newfound strength coursing through her veins. In that moment, the clouds outside parted enough to let in a sudden beam of sunlight. It illuminated their faces, highlighting the resolve in their eyes and the unity between them. As they turned toward the door, ready to face whatever awaited them, Jasmine's heart beat steadily. It was the beginning of something, a chance to reclaim not just their lives, but their identities. Freedom was within reach, but shadows loomed on the horizon. Who would come? Or them next? What secrets still lurked, waiting to unravel? And in that uncertain moment, that flicker of hope twinkled against the dark storm clouds above. Love can fight the past and lead them into the future. You need to subscribe now so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Press the like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the finale. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know about this final. This is the time to show your support. Don't wait 1 second longer to share it. Only true fans understand the importance of backing the channel with these actions.